What are some calming facts? We currently live in the richest, safest, healthiest time in human history. This medicine has never been better. Cancer rates are rising because we're effectively treating so many more health issues that we're living long enough to develop cancers that we'd otherwise never develop. You're less likely to die from violence than any other points in human history. The standard of living in every region has improved to a point that would be almost unrecognizable by just a few generations ago. The past really is a different world, and no amount of nostalgia can change the fact that world was worse in virtually every meaningful way. We got to a point in our medicine where one of the biggest health problems is our DNA being like LOL. That, and there's just too much food to not eat. And people still don't vaccines their fucking kids. Society can be going up, but your personal and individual life can suck tremendously. Similarly, society can be fucked, but you can be doing okay. There's one area I can think where quality of life is down. We work way more than we did as hunter-gatherers. Life back then had all its other problems, but at least you got to relax while waiting for death. This, even despite all the constant negativity in the press and social media, and the good old days weren't always as good. I believe it is just that you hear more negative news than 30-50 years ago, since information spreads so fast nowadays. Also, you probably didn't hear much about international news back in the days. And of course, bad news sell better than good news. The quokka is termed as the happiest animal in the world. The area in which they live has no natural predators. They routinely approach humans and pose for selfies. When pursued by a predator, a fleeing quokka mother will eject her baby from her pouch. The freshly launched baby flails about on the ground, making weird hissing noises and attracting the predator's attention, while the female quokka escapes to live another day. She can, and will, reproduce again. It's pretty cold and heartless, but it's a tactic that unfortunately works, and for the mob. Sounds like Kangaskhan. Fucked up edition. Bob Ross always talked with a smooth, sexy voice because after his time in the Air Force, he disliked yelling at people so much that he didn't want to ever do it again. Your body will continue breathing for you while you sleep. Sleep apnea would like a word. Not necessarily calming, but mild-natured and happy. Norway knighted a penguin, and that's just the goddamn cutest thing I've ever heard. And a group of flamingos are called a flamboyance. If you're nervous about the complications involved in going to an airport, getting on a plane, transferring, getting out of your destination airport, just remember this. These places process millions of people per year. Are you dumber than millions of people? If not, you'll be fine. How does intelligence affect the chance of the plane crashing? That's the only thing anyone really worries about. Well, there are stories about Chinese tourists who threw coins into the turbine for good luck while boarding the plane. I'm less worried about the pilot screwing up than about myself sitting at the wrong gate and missing my flight, or not hustling fast enough to get to the connecting flight, to be honest. In general, most people don't think about you as much as you think. As someone with anxiety, this is calming. People are busy dealing with their own shit. No one really cares about your fuck-ups as much as you think. Science has recently discovered a type of mushroom that can digest plastic, and it might save the world. A bacteria has been discovered that does the same in Japan. While studying it and trying to figure it out, they accidentally made it more effective fast at eating plastic. Not really a fact, but whenever I'm feeling scared or nervous about an imminent failure, I always turn to Carl Sagan's pale blue dot. In 1990, Voyager 1, the farthest man-made object, took a picture of Earth. In the vast darkness, Earth was but one tiny pixel. Carl Sagan spoke about it at Cornell University. Here is part of his final musings. Original is much longer, but I don't want to post the entire thing. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity and all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. It is up to us. It's been said that astronomy is a humbling, and I might add, a character-building experience. To my mind, there is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly and compassionately with one another, and to preserve and cherish that pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known. Carl Sagan. The blue whale is the largest animal on Earth. This is personally calming for me. They're serene and beautiful. Watch them. They're also the largest that's ever existed. This is a good fact for anybody who is frustrated that they'll never get to see an actual dinosaur. The largest creatures ever, in the whole history of the planet, are alive now. Fun fact about the blue whale: they're one of the few if not only animals that's evolved backwards to everything else. Everything got smaller since like the dinosaur period, except whales actually got bigger due to having to travel further for food. The first human-infesting parasite has made its way to the endangered species list. Get endangered, you little bitch. Trivia means 3 roads in Latin. Elephants view us in the way we view dogs. They think we are cute. Bees make a tiny whoop noise when they bump into each other. Every single atom in your body was once part of a star that has long since exploded, creating the sun and solar system, creating the earth which created you. Cows don't have a top set of teeth, they basically just have a weird mouth pad. So if one starts to nom on your hand, you don't have to worry about it hurting you. This is my favorite and the thought of it is so cute. You don't need the cotton fluff they sometimes put in pill bottles, they just keep putting it in there because it puts people's minds at ease. I think it also has to do with a serial killer who was opening pill bottles back in the day and putting cyanide capsules into them. Also why they seal it now. That's the reason bottles are tamper-proof. It was someone who was putting poison in Tylenol bottles. Tylenol is still cited as the textbook example of exactly how to deal with a potentially company-destroying crisis. They immediately took control. Recalled every single bottle of Tylenol. In every form they sell it in. Redesigned the bottles to be tamper-proof. Did a huge campaign. Full-page print ads, addressing the situation directly, letting people know that they understood exactly the horror and severity and that they had dealt with it. Their brand remains top-notch. It's so weird when you see companies lying, hiding, defending, doing everything wrong, when the perfect example is there. Almost all companies selling OTC medicines, from then on, have instituted tamper-proof bottles. The cotton is so that the pills don't get ground down or disintegrate by being smashed into each other during transit. Had a friend who freaked out about the movie Wandering Earth, at the notion that the sun could die. Then I explained to him that that sort of thing can't just happen randomly, and any of the sorts of things that could happen that would cause it, we'd know probably at least millions of years in advance, probably billions. And that it's not going to happen for a few billion years yet, and even if it did, we've only got about 3 billion years left of the sun's main sequence before it boils off our atmosphere and oceans. Consider that human civilization has only really existed in any focused, productive way for like 6,000 years or so, and that we've only even existed as a species for maybe 300,000 years. That means, just in terms of how long our species has existed, that's like 8% of the amount of time we have. If you consider it in terms of how long we've actually been settled and developing technologies, we're only 1/500,000th of the way through our time, or 0.02% through, if we have not figured out a way to escape our solar system, which is something we can conceivably already do, though it would take at least a century in 3 billion years. We've long since exhausted Earth's resources and probably killed each other, and, if not, well, there's your great filter. Either way, when you hear people say shit like why don't we spend our time solving problems on Earth instead of playing in space, tell them to fuck off, because the future of the human race is in the stars. Otherwise Earth is our coffin. That can't be how it ends, because we are made of star stuff. This universe is our home. Fred Rogers was extremely hard to interview because he wanted to know more about other people, and not talk about himself. Fred Rogers' personality handwrote replies to every letter he received, and never missed one. Fred Rogers started mentioning when he was feeding his fish because a blind girl told him she was concerned about his fish. If you accidentally hurt your dog, then pet it and cuddle it. It will know you're apologizing and that it was an accident. Otters hold hands and onto something secure when they sleep so that they don't drift away. Dogs dream about their owners. When the milk in your fridge has expired. When a pebble is stuck in your shoe. When you feel a bit peckish or tired. Or you're stuck at the end of a queue. Don't get disgruntled or grumpy. Try not to overreact. Your blood pressure will fall when you simply recall this one inescapable fact. Soon you'll be dead.